Oh yeah, right. This is the top bar. I went for it first because I just thought it'd speed the film up rather than me just constantly trying to explain. But there's a lot going on in here. You come up here at the weekend and you just kind of lift the frames out, look at them, and put them back in again. That's it. But last week there were a lot of brood that are uncapped. Now they're capped, and these sorry, in the centre there, those are nurse bees. They're going to be female bees, and they're kind of that kind of biscuity colour. When it first gets capped, it's kind of lighter and it slowly goes darker. The raised cells are the drone, so they're like bigger. Oh, there's the queen. There's the queen there. Hopefully I've got the light right for once. The queen. So the queen she was at the other end of the hive because I wanted to show her to you. And then you put her down and she just runs as fast as she can away. But she's reappeared right down the end of the hive. That's her there. But yeah, more importantly, these raised cells here are the drones. So last week I was talking about practice cups. I'm trying to do this with one hand. I haven't got a body holder harness thing for my camera, so I'm going to have to try and always hold it till I get one. If I gently blow, lots of brood. They're like little white maggots laying down, kind of curled up in there. But last week I was talking about practice cups. I've broken down about 10 of them so far. And what these are they're known as practice cup, but queen cups. I'm going to put this back in so she's not disturbed. But what happens is they start practicing making queen cells, and because they're naturally going to want to start, I keep saying naturally, if the queen starts failing or they're not productive or the hive gets too big, there's numerous reasons, but they start making new queens, and by doing that you know that something's up because they start practicing it. These cells, when you find them, you need to break them down, just squash them flat, tear them off. They're just like an extra big cell. But once this one here has gone darker, so that'd be hatching, so that they literally start emerging. Last week these would have been capped, so 7 days on from being sealed, so literally the next day or two, literally today, tomorrow, let's think, 8, yeah, so tomorrow, day after. So on the end here there's some kind of, I've squashed this flat. These were queen cells. I had a look in them, and you know, you practice cups, there's one there I've squashed. You know when you've got to be on your mark because you're looking at one of these little raised cups. I've squashed them flat now, like I say, I've already been through this hive, because there'll be a freshly laid egg in there, and the egg will be it will have a little bit of white royal jelly in there, and they'll feed that, and the cell will just dramatically change. It looks like an acorn or like a kind of morel mushroom, like a miniature one of them, but it drops down off of the hive and kind of hangs downwards, the comb, and hangs downwards. But once that happens, you need to split the hive or take the cell out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this up, but because this is my first proper season of a top bar. I had it last year, but I didn't do anything with it. I just kind of let them build up and then got them through winter. So this will go through. This will go through an experiment, my first time ever, where you do like what's called a Pagden method, where it's like called a false swarm, where you trick the existing queen into thinking that she's swarmed, and all the flying bees that are flying in and out, they'll come back to an empty hive and they think that they've swarmed. So I'll explain it all better, but what I was going to do with this one, I put an entrance down here, which I've sealed off last year. There's holes down there for the event that these bees will eventually obviously swarm. So there's nothing to report really in here yet. There's lots of she's laying lots of eggs. There's lots of sealed brood which are going to hatch. So there'll be double the amount of bees almost, or at least a third more bees. So next week when I come up here, seal this up gently. You obviously get a few casualties, which I feel bad about, but let's shove that down there. If the light's good enough, if you can see in there, this is a bit of cell, a bit of brace comb that fell off. There's little tiny white, like miniature grains of rice. They're freshly laid eggs. So if this camera's picking that up, one of those little eggs there will be taken out, taken down to a specific cell, instead of the kind of usual compounds of pollen and protein being put into that cell to make a ordinary female nurse bee. They'll put royal jelly in there into a special cell with one of these new, exactly the same. It's like you've been selected, just exactly the same cell as all the others. They're not a special cell, it's just an ordinary little egg that gets laid, but that one gets selected to become a queen. There's lots and lots of drone cells in here, so I think it's only a matter of time before I need to do something. I'm going to leave that down there. Actually, I'll take that with me. Right. Okay, it's only a quick walk through. I'm going to shut this up and leave them alone. They've had enough of me poking them around. Okay.